I am the first Lohem, Yahweh, love El Lohem. This message is in response to devolution is devolation. Calvin Trice Murphy is the origin of AT&T in the World Wide Web Internet Computer System. Calvin Trice Murphy, 1938, that created legislation for the banking system, the Granite Discovery and Smithsonian Institute, particularly about science and the invention of video and audio recorders. Where do the ones that call themselves or identify with AT&T originate? Briefly, I am the first Lohem, Yahweh, love, El Lohem, creator of civilization. And that's the first place that those that claimed the alien technology of AT&T originated from. Civilization is the creation of Yahweh, C-O-Y, Koi, the creation of Yahweh, and I am the creator, Lohem, love, El Lohem, of civilization. And those four civilizations of man, woman, boy, and girl were taught my word, creator, and they were taught to obey Yahweh so that they could try to become citizens in the creation of Yahweh, C-O-Y, Koi. Those that disobeyed Yahweh basically lost their vitamin D. And they became, instead of what's called African American featured Negroids or something, they became Caucasoids of some kind, sort of like Latinos or Arabs or European descent, something like that. It's called culture. And that's my creation, Lohem, love, El Lohem, the creator of civilization, which is a creation of Yahweh, Koi. And culture meant that they were not true. So we turned them into these lesser beings so they could learn how to obey the wisdom of Yahweh. And that's the beginning of those that claim AT&T, civilization with culture. Then I created the Sumerian civilization, me, the creator, Sol Tan, Lohem, Yahweh, love, El Lohem, creator of the Sumerian civilization, which is the first city. And the first city makes civilization extinct. That civilization means that you were uncivilized. And the first city were bringing civility to a world that we would create. In the Sumerian civilization, we had the caves of Sumeria. And just like from the hieroglyphs of Egypt, what you think are called those that work for AT&T, they came right off of the walls of the caves, just like the hieroglyphics of Egypt, because I am the creator, Lohem, Sol Tan, Yahweh, love, El Lohem, created the Sumerian civilization, which is the first city. And that's the second place that those that claim AT&T came from. When you fast forward, millions of years would go by and you would hear of the word. Anyway, I was creating the one world in civilization, which never was complete, and then eventually I was going to create the city. So from the creation of calculations, love, Elohim, I began my project, which is projecting the city, me, Lohem, creator Yahweh, love, Elohim, the creator of the city, from authenticity, and it was my projection from the creation of calculations. There I had some servants in my field, and my servants in my field, which looks like those from culture, which are vitamin D deficient looking mammals, they were learning to obey Yahweh, and I was teaching them about white men, that white men in the future will wear white aprons. And the white aprons would be the only thing that would constitute what a white man is, because they are technically pink, orange, beige looking, sometimes even green veins you can see, but definitely not the color white. So in my field of calculations with me, creator Lohem, Yahweh, love, Elohim, the creator of the city from calculations, which is just my projection, the servants of my field, they were the descendants from culture, and they learned about the white men who were called doctors. Now, before that time, there was one called Vulcan. And Vulcan tried to become the devil and accused me, love, of being hateful. And so I created volcanoes to teach Vulcan with this Star Trek insanity that it was more like Gargamel from the Smurfs. And Gargamel from the Smurfs, it just wanted to be the head doctor, which means that it just wanted to kiss on men between their legs, the head doctor in the HD program. Anyway, the volcano replaced Vulcan, and I just sent my word vulgar into my English dictionary that you can spell love with a letter U from up above. Up, love. Yeah, right, sure. Anyway, and so Vulcan, which became the devil of those caucasoid vitamin D deficient primates, it deceived them very well, but it had to depart. So that's part of their history there too, in civilization with culture. And then the first city, which came from calculations. And then you learned about white men, which are about the aprons. And then you learned about the cool I see, Lohem Christ, Yahweh Elohim, whose name is also Felix Hoffman, the creator of aspirins in the pharmaceutical industry. All right. Then after we fast forward from the city, from the creation of deprivation, there was the creation of processing, love Elohim. And I had my creation called recreation, which had processing. In the creation of deprivation, love Elohim, my name was called green. Green. Me. That I was just agreeing with you. And in the creation of recordation, where processing was, we taught them about weapons, that trying to stand in my presence with less than vitamin D levels of operating from culture where we used to be from civilization, you would feel afraid in my presence because my light is so much greater than your body that you would feel in my presence that you are afraid because you just was never created with me. Lohem, Yahweh, love, Elohim. Therefore, my energy is superior than your thinking. So you'll be afraid. So we taught them that if you had a pistol on your hip, maybe you feel safe, but they really don't work. And that was called processing, where those vitamin D deficient primates that I was sending to my city learned that my name was Green. So then in the creation of deprivation, love Elohim, I changed my name Green to just G. Since my name is Energy, love Elohim. G. So then you learned about me, G-O-D. And technically, I'm from the greats, love Elohim, the G-O-D. I am the great original deceiver. Lohem, Yahweh, love Elohim, the G-O-D, from the greats, love Elohim. I am. So that's not where you heard of those AT&T of Calvin Trice Murphy, 1938. No. But from the creation of processing in the field, projecting the city, and with my name Green, they began to worship the name Green. For if you go to Paradise Isle, there was one called Olive. And Olive did create a creation in Paradise Isle or somewhere in that area where she changed those same primates, and she used my name, Elohim, to create sort of like snakes. Eventually it's called a conveyor belt, but they end up becoming like vibrators. And she would change these snakes, it's like a magical trick, into these caucasoid looking things. And they were either food or sex toys. And that's what Olive, which became their creator, who used my name, Elohim, to create a reptile sex toy or just food. It's called an egg now. And that's the true story. So in the Vietnam War in Echo Park in 1963 and 1964 in MacArthur Park in Los Angeles, California, the Smithsonian Institute revealed eggs dropping out of the sky. And right on the video cameras, another one used my name, Yahweh. And these reptiles stood right up out of these eggs and ended up looking like the same images from Civilization with Culture. It's called a cosmic joke.